The question I given you at the beginning of the class, actually, what is the role of the chain script? It's very easy because the work in offline mode needs for us needs from the DB experts or whomever is a project administrator to recognize that there is an update or recognize that there are additions made in the offline version to be deployed on the online database. So online, let's say, project. To recognize that, actually, we do not expect to find the updates just highlighted in a different color. It's not that way. So the project is projects, actually, or professional projects, they are huge enough to make you confused. The work in the offline mode usually starts with creating a snapshot and gets terminated with creating a snapshot. So the chain script will make at least the least function to do is to compare the two snapshots timely separated to check if there is any changes in order to be deployed on the online version, online project. Otherwise, nothing would happen if they are similar. So generating these snapshots at the beginning of the edition and after the edition, then comparing both the first snapshot and the last, at the end, the snapshot from the end of the edition. Then if there are differences, there will be actually a deployment to the online version. So the role of the chain script is to make the updates from the offline project to the online project. Let's continue from where we stopped our last class. Meanwhile, while I'm just moving from slide to another, if you have any questions, you may stop me. Yeah, so we started already the work with the SSDT, which is the API. The more rich, let's say, API in the offline mode. Okay, so as per a task here, just to bring your attention to, continuing with the work with the chain script, we know that the chain script is one of the functionalities that the API can help us generate. And it is to be utilized for making updates, deploying updates from the offline to the online version. Yes, it is the role of the API to generate, to help generating this chain script. Okay, creating a chain script, change script. Yes, create a chain script for the altered, let's say, table we have in our database, and seeing that and seeing the result on the SSDT, which is the API we utilize to connect remotely to the DB with DBMS, the SQL server, will generate something like the following. So this is something that we can recognize. This is a chain script. Let me just maximize the view. Yes, great. So and here we can see the creation of the entities, and we can see the updates brought to the entities available inside the objects available inside the database. And this is exactly what we have to see. No more. So it's something. It's list of queries like script, no more, no less. So something can run on the DBMS database management system. So it's not something secret, but it would be generated by the API. Right click and choose the option rather than writing the code. So do not expect that you're going to write all of those things. And this is a small chain script, by the way. No, let it be done by the API, much more secure. So the SSDT is one of the very famous APIs we can utilize to work with the any of the three categories of databases: the online, the offline, and the on-premise or the local. Online, offline, on-premise, or local DB. The three of them actually they have actually a solution to be integrated and used upon the SSMS. Sorry, upon the SSDT. Here actually just to bring your attention to is that the SSDT it has a much more richer experience when we compare it to the SSMS or the SSDT. Let me just come to the slide where it is clearly mentioned. Come back. Just I'm searching for any information, no more or less. Yes, good. So let's continue. Actually, the structure of the database can be here. Just we have to recognize that the DBs they do have actually specific structure, and the structure is a question of recognizing what changes to bring and things like that. So it's not a standardized process. Yes, the change script is a common behavior, it's a common outcome, but the content it is to be customized upon the database. This is for sure. And thus we can see that the SCC, which is the source code control, can generate even the scripts that the stored procedures or whatever the database are having can be actually preserved and maintained in the database whenever a snapshot is generated or a script chain script is generated. Thus, we can guarantee because of this actually SCC, which is the source code control, we can guarantee that all the scripts also will be copied and pushed up to the online distribution. Yes, and whether we are in offline or in online, all the tools, all the .NET features that the SSDT enhances, they are still available for both scenarios. Whether we are in an online distribution or in an offline distribution, the totality, without exception, totality of tools available in the API here in this question is the SSDT. They are still available. Okay, and the matter of the update to be terminated, it is a sign that the deployment has been done, and the deployment means actually the push up of the offline database content into an online database. So that is the sign to say that the deployment has been terminated. Otherwise, still it is in process. In the sense of actually the still in the the SSDT, the SQL Server data tools as an API, we can the SQL Server and the SSDT itself guarantees that the namespaces they are namespace names They are to be tolerated in the sense of the default namespace is DBO, but can be actually created, regenerated, and redistributed amongst the users. At the end of the day, whomever is going to utilize such database, they might have to have a list of these schemas available inside the database in order to accomplish their queries and their tasks in plural. DBO is the shortcut for database owner. Yes, okay. So, in an offline database means we are just offline, means we are not having a remote connection. Still, we can work from the same device to the same device. So here inside the device itself, we can utilize the available facilities, mouse and keyboard, better mouse and better keyboard in order to accomplish all what has been interrupted for. Okay, here you can see that the offline database can be mentioned in the Server Explorer without any issue. So here we can see the offline database, see the name here, and see the icon, and all other features they are still available more than the SSDT itself because the rich experience that the SSDT do enhances. It does not deprive the work in offline mode. Good. Still, just to remind you again and again, no worries, just to remind you again, it's good. The snapshot to generate at the beginning and at the end of each edition to bring to your work is the key to generate the chain script. So snapshots at the beginning, snapshots after all the editions. Those two snapshots are the key to generate a chain script coherent and having all the updated values. Okay, all the queries and all the tasks, whenever we have an administrator is working in an offline mode and he generated a list or a group of, let's say, tasks to do, all the queries, edit, alter, drop, they are, there's no edit, but there is drop and edit. Sorry, there is drop and update or whatever, depends. So the totality of the commands, they are still supported where the SSDT actually, when working in offline mode using the SSDT. So the same as we work with the SQL Server itself, so the same is happening here at this level. The local DB, the third database, the local DB, it's another very handy tool, and here we can utilize for different purposes. The local DB can be actually utilized to generate local database, yes, for sure. And the difference between the local database and the offline database is the speech. The local database is one dedicated to a specific platform and can be run only from that particular platform. Plus, the local DB can be generated using specific and dedicated tools. The SQL Server, local DB, Express, or something like that. So the name, the SQL Server, Express local DB is the name of the tool that created the the yes, whatever, any project in question. So the local DBs is not the offline DB in conclusion here, and it is one that has to be generated using a specific and dedicated tool because the totality of functions, they are not available. The totality of functions we can see in online, it's not the same we can see it in offline. We have to be preventive and we have to be cautious, no more, no less. Yeah, here, if I maximize the view here, we can see a database seen 2 times, one in offline mode and one in online mode. You can see the icon here, and you can see the icon here. One is in offline mode, and the other one is in the online mode. It's already on the server. They are the same actually seen here. They are the same seen here. Yet customer something like that is not available here. The second, the longest here, it's not available in this list. Why? Because this one is in offline mode. See, did not get deployed to the online database. Still, the work is going on the offline database only, or on the local database only. Okay. On this level, please, do you have any questions, please? I believe you have no questions. That's great. So let's continue. The views, we defined them actually in an early age in this course. We defined them actually last class and the class before, I believe. The views, they are, and as per the SQL solutions, the views, they are one of the security solutions to englobe a list of queries to secure them. Any call will be done to the SQL server, whatever. So the TSQL will enhance the queries available in the security support, and later on in the program, whenever needed, only the name of the procedure will be called. So same as object-oriented programming concepts. Only the view name will be called in order to call the full block of SQL content or TSQL content. Syntax to generate a view. Syntax to generate a view. If you can see well here, we have a keyword create, view, the keyword also. We give the name user defined, and we stop here because the others we explain later. So create a view, give name, and do your content. The content is usually it's a list of queries. As per this example, we have a select query. We may have a different one, but that will be a list of queries to utilize and to adopt upon the view in question. So this view here, it is passing only one query, but it's a complex one. It's not a simple one. So select C only R here is full is null. Some OH, it depends on the some fields inside the database. Add other details. This is the is null. Okay, this is the header. From the DBO dot customer as DBO here, just I insist. This is the default schema. And from this schema, we can find the customer table that is given the name C. Thus, we can see on top C dot is because of this C only. We continue the query here actually. It's not a matter of recognize what is the query. The query actually is one of the examples that we have it. And the thing I want you to insist on is that the structure here is one of the good, let's say, aims that we faced, yet still we have to finalize the totality of the process. Okay. Okay, we said that the views, they are simple, surround, let's say, board or framework to all the queries we have to pass to the database. And this one example. Okay, what is the security, or where we can see the security of this aggregate, or let's say this function? The work with the SQL and SQL queries, plus adding or controlling the alarm. Here we have to talk about the content of the entities we are interrogating using the view. Whether you are talking about to interrogate list of rows in different arrays, or we're going to interrogate different columns also inside the entities in question. So we have a level, row level security and column level security, the field and the row level security. You have to understand that the protection is here to be done. The row level means we are going to protect records. Column level, we are going to protect fields, no more no less. Yeah, and here, because of this view only, we can hide specific data when execution. And this is all of it is a concern of security, no more, no less. Before I continue, any questions, please? Okay, great. This is great. So, still using the SSDT only, which is the API, the very famous SDI. Actually, it's not restricted to the SSDT, but this is one of the very famous and successful functions we can do using the SSDT, which is the factoring of a database, or you can use the word renaming the database. So it is actually a common sense, let's say, definition that the refactoring of a database or the renaming of the database takes care of all the constraints, amongst of them the referential integrity, means the relationships between entities. It would consider that, and it would actually update all the necessary components. Okay, one very famous question that we need to understand it and answer it. As a student, do you have the habit to run a script and test it on a database? The answer actually, hopefully and needfully, and please let it be no. You do not test what, let's say, projects. In the sense, they are still did not get finalized. Actually, it's not a matter of we can, we cannot. You can, yes, go for that. You do not need to go for it. because actually everything can be customized accordingly. Accordingly. Just here, I'm just going. I'm trying to find an example, but it is a common sense, no more, no less. Yes. Okay. We come back to redefine. We saw actually it's not the first time, but we just persist on that, which is the use of the schemas. We have to recognize what is a schema first of all. Then after we talk about the comparison of those schemas, we are about to finish this chapter. That's good. So the schema is a sort of a cover that has dedicated objects, maybe tables, maybe sort procedures, depends. Those objects they have actually a referential integrity built in between. They are referenced. In addition to that, we can utilize the schemas to make comparison in between updated and non-updated elements whenever needed. So to compare schemas is less consumer in terms of whatever the resources are when doing actually comparison. Everything is already almost ready. Yeah, in keyboard, actually, there are shortcuts to finalize and to do the updates and things like that, and specifically to make the update and make the comparison when needed. Can you answer the question actually when I said right now with the updates actually we can press the F5 whenever the updates are needed? What does it mean? Can you just clarify me this point? If you just clarify it well, like there are 2 marks to be given extra. We discuss later on, maybe in the final, maybe not. But 2 marks. Can you just clarify what does it mean here? The point I was discussing. You make the updates whenever needed. Any trials, please? Yes, yeah, exactly. Any